Okay, I'm kind of reaching the end of my little mini vacation. Was it Thursday, June 8th or 9th or something like that. I forget what it is. But got busy again, got next week and the week after that booked up, which is good, which means we're busy again finally after May being really, really slow. But this is kind of a blessing in disguise because I've been able to get so much done on the boat. Still have a lot to go. I'm going to be working on the interior pieces today. Trying to get those glassed in, done, cut, and then also the seat bases, which I'll show you here in a second. So that way we can hopefully have this thing in the water by July 4th. Once I have all the interior pieces cut, the only thing we have left to do is the engine mounts and get the engine in there, and then all the detail work after that. Which, you know, I know how to do that. There's no thinking involved. What slows me down is solving problems. You know, you want to make sure you pick the right thing to do whenever you're glassing things in. Is it in the right spot? A lot of times sitting there thinking about it. So that's what slowed me down a lot of times. So once we get past all that and get everything built and then we're putting the engine back in, you know, the rest of it's just hooking up and bolting down and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, let me show you what we've done with the seat mounts. I had a little kind of a oh crap moment this morning. The seat mounts I made 11 inches. The diameter of the seat base is 9 inches. Well, when you cut the base at 45 degrees, it puts the top of the base at 8.5. So we're a 1/4 inch short on all sides. So what I did, as you can see here, as you can see here, it fits now. What I did is I set my circ saw to 30 degrees, which gives us a steeper angle. Now, only bad thing about that is we've got to wrap glass around it, which is going to be kind of a scary thing. But you know, what I'll do is I'll just round the edges off really good, and we'll put one layer of 1708 and then one layer of chop strand over it to give it a nice smooth finish. But so what I did is I set my circ saw to 30 degrees right here. You can see there, 30 degrees. And then I clamped it down on the workbench I have here, my little makeshift workbench, and just ran down each side and flipped it. And most circ saws have markings, you can see right there. And I just found one that I wanted to follow and then just set it on either side and ripped it down each edge. So it came out perfectly good. We've got about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, which I'm happy with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the other one, and then I'm going to get the seat and go in there and figure out exactly where I want it. But I'm going to have to cut this down quite a bit because this puts this seat just way too high. And I've searched and searched for different seat bases. And this one's actually pretty nice because it's adjustable. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out, which is just a thumb screw. If you look down inside here, it just attaches a little piece there to hold it from moving up and down. I'm going to take this out, and then we're going to shorten this base however much I need. And then we'll shorten this too. So therefore, and then we'll drill another hole down here, which gives us our tightening ability. And that should work. It's just that inner piece comes all the way down to here. So I've got to shorten it also. So it shouldn't be, like I said, shouldn't be rocket science. The only bad thing is I do not have a bandsaw, which really you want a bandsaw to cut this so when you're running it through it goes nice and straight. All I have is a Sawzall, and you know how that goes. It gets off one angle, it kind of screws you. So I don't know, I'm trying to think if there's anybody I know that owns one of those things or a shop around here I can go and mark it and cut it. But here's the thing is that I want to go little bits at a time instead of just taking one big whack, so that way I know that I'm okay. But that's where I am right now. I'm going to go ahead and cut the other one. We'll go get them kind of set in there where we kind of want them. And I gotta also probably go get something really, really heavy because you can't screw this down. There's nothing to clamp it down. So when we put the peanut butter down, I want to make sure that it's going to stay. So I may have to go get me some cinder blocks or something like that to make it happen. Because all I have is one bucket of resin left. I just don't have anything super heavy in my arsenal. You know what? I got a whole bunch of bricks on the other side over here left over when they built this house. So I might be able to stack bricks on top of this while it cures. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'm going to go ahead and cut this other seat base, and we'll see about getting them oriented in the boat. After a long debate with the wife, not debate, deciphering session, we've decided that we need to come down 3 inches on the seat base. So that means that because this was all the way down, you can see it's touching the bottom, I need to take 3 inches off the bottom here. That'll still give us plenty of adjustment here. And I need to come off 3 inches here. And then I'll just re-drill this pilot hole where this goes through and grabs hold of this little nut on the back side. So if I had a bandsaw, that wouldn't be any big deal, but I don't, so I'm going to attempt to do this with a Sawzall. Worst comes to worst, I have to buy a new seat base, but the crucial part is this top part, and that's not what I'm cutting. This goes in just like this, and the seat sits on top of it. So it's really no big deal. If this is slightly off, I'll grind it down, make it look, you know, semi-decent. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure down and just see if I can keep it nice and in parallel. I don't know if I'm going to be able to clamp it down. This thing's all pop riveted together, so we'll see. This one I'm not worried about at all. I'll just measure it and cut it. That'll be easy. So that's what I'm going to do, and then we'll retest where it is. What we're trying to make sure of is that, let this thing adjust. See the armrest? We want to make sure we can get it as close to the armrest as possible and still be able to swivel, so that way you have a nice walkway up in here. So once you glue those suckers down, those bases, there's no turning back. And I've decided I need to go back up to the storage unit and get the other seat, because I want to see them both together in here at the same time. That way we're not, you know, that way I'm not guessing with the other one, just to make sure it's all there. So it's about 10 minutes up the road, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this, see how it looks, and then I'll go get the other one. Here's what I've done to kind of help it stay in place. Is I took and I made my marks at 3 inches, and I took a piece of tape and wrapped it all the way around, so that way I can try to keep my blade nice and perpendicular to the surface. Now the internal one, what did I do with the other one? Oh, here it is. This one I went ahead and went with 3.5 inches because I want to make sure, because what it was doing is it was bottoming out on this little bottom rivet, and it was causing problems. So I'm just going to go up another 1/2 inch, so therefore we got a little bit of play in there. So I'm going to go get my Sawzall blade and see if we can't cut this. Here we have a modified seat base. Came down about 3 inches. Pretty happy with the cut. It came out okay. Shorten the inside, put everything back together, and now 3 inches less. So now I'm going to run into the boat and see how we fared. I think I'm going to still need to come down another 1.5 inches. I put it up on the base there, and my head is still uncomfortably high. Once I took that out, I think this is exactly where it needs to be, because my feet are fairly comfortably placed on the ground, and somebody who's shorter than me actually will work better. So I can still use my tilt on my steering wheel. My center section I took off, but probably gonna get a new steering wheel anyway. This one's kind of worn out, but I'm comfortable right here. This is a good driving position, and then once you put the bolster up, it's gonna make everything, you know, fit better. So I'm gonna run up to the storage unit and get my other seat and put it in here and just see how things are gonna look. You see that we have both seats in the position that we like. I have been approved by the first mate, or in other words, the wife, that this is where she wants it. I had to take 4.5 inches off of that pedestal to get it where we want it, and I had to take 3.5 inches off of that because this has the adjuster on it, and it goes forward and backward, and it adds to the height of the seat. So we're happy with where they are. We're going to take the seats out. I'm going to draw a Sharpie line all the way around these on either side. I'm going to go get my DA sander, and we're going to rough up underneath it and mix up some peanut butter and get a whole bunch of bricks and set it on top of this to hold it down. I've thought about doing T-nuts, and I don't know if I've mentioned this yet or not, but I'm going to just lag these in there with the standard bolts that are 1.5 inches tall, because this is 1.5 inches thick, and this is going to be about 1/4 inch up because of the base. It'll be perfectly fine. And let's say something happens and they back out or whatever, you take this up, you rotate it a little bit, you drill 2 new holes. And if ever these things rot out, you grind them off, you put a new set down. So I'm not tremendously worried about it. I think it'll be okay with the deals instead of the T-nuts. just finished wiping down the deck and with acetone, and we put down a good thick layer, as you can see over here, of peanut butter. And I just set mine down in there, kind of wiggled it back and forth into place. And first of all, we leveled the boat to make sure that this doesn't start sliding down the deck, so it's going to stay nice and level here. And we're going to put a bunch of bricks on here just to kind of keep it. What I want is about a 1/16 of an inch of the peanut butter or cookie underneath it. And then once I get all the bricks on there, I'll go around with one of these tongue depressors and smooth everything out. So we're going to continue putting a whole bunch more bricks on here and get it done.
Put this one on.
There we go. Now you just stack a bunch of weight on it.